Welcome. Oh, those of you who were the first ones in the virtual door, welcome. We're so thankful you are here. Oh, our Ms. Renee and her fantastic signs. It's the best. Welcome. Let us know where you are watching from today. Drop that over in the comments. And while you're introducing yourselves to each other, I definitely suggest dropping in. What is your favorite social media platform to be on right now? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Where are you spending time? And go ahead and share that link to your profile there so that those who also love that platform can connect with you and engage with you and like and comment and share your goodness. Okay, so I'm going to show a video real quick about the conference coming up. So as you're sharing that, let's have some fun and groove a little to our upcoming retreat happening in June. I'm with you, Renee. This is the I'm so excited about Oceanside, aka O-Side. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I love all of the sharing already. I see that one of our co-founders, Leslie Appleton Young, is in the chat. Hello. Please make sure that if you want to engage with everyone and you want to have conversations with the group that's here, make sure that you choose everyone inside that little blue menu right above where you type your chat so that everyone can engage with you. You're going to see Fatima is here with us today, making sure that every link that you could possibly need from our conversation today is dropped in the chat. It will also be, for those of you who are watching the replay, it will be in the show notes on the blog. So don't worry, rest, relax, grab your favorite little sip and snuggle in for this conversation because I have some amazing women to shine a light on today. Before we get to that, you saw the video. If you haven't purchased your ticket for this year's retreat, I highly recommend it. We decided to do something a little different this year based on all of your amazing feedback. And that is, we designed a collaborative retreat this year. We're bringing the numbers in, we're bringing the content to the table. And so that we can really, truly, and deeply engage with each other around the tables. Oh, I'm hearing a little feedback. I'm not sure where that's coming from. So what we want for you to do is have a chance to grab your ticket. We haven't released the tickets to the world yet. So right now it's exclusively for the WomanUP community. They do send out the CAR e-blast to the 200,000+ Realtor members next Friday. And I really want you to have your opportunity to get that ticket. I want to explain something really quickly about the tickets. We didn't talk about this in the video or last week, but we decided to bundle the tickets this year. We split them up last year, and then everybody was buying the soiree ticket and buying the wine tasting ticket and like, hey, why aren't these all together? So we listened, we bundled it all together, and we gave you two options. One is to get your hotel and your ticket all together. The other is to buy your retreat ticket, and that covers all of the sessions and all of the networking and fun opportunities like the wine tasting and the soiree and all the other things that the team is cooking up for you during those days. So when you go onto the site, you might think, oh my goodness, these prices seem different than last year. They are more expensive because, well, inflation. However, our sponsors are really showing up hard for us this year and really helping us keep the tickets as low as possible. So overall, it's about another $400 from last year. But man, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth every penny. It really is going to be a beautiful event. So please check it out over on IamWomanUp.com. Speaking of sponsor conversations, we have room. So if you are a brand that would love to be part of this movement, if you are a brokerage, of course, but if you are an RE tech company, if you're in fintech, if you're a mortgage company, a title company, anyone who has a national presence and is looking to really be part of a divinely brilliant, bold, badass, dare I say, community of leaders who are really change makers, we'd love for you to join us. And we'll drop that link into the chat. Okay, so without further ado, I would love to get rolling into our conversation. And the first woman who is going to share a bit about her beginning, her story, what got her into the industry is Renée Roqué. And Renée is a piece of the heart of WomanUP. You have seen her woven into so many conversations. If you attended the conference, you saw her working her beautiful, beautiful brain off. It was amazing. She is here to share her story with us today a little bit more. So Renée, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and share a little bit about the path that led you to where you are today.
I just have to say thank you for that. That is so sweet. And okay, I'm not crying. I'm not crying today. Okay, but I am wearing my WomanUP shirt. So thank you. I never set out to be a leader. I just got to start in saying that. But Women's Council came into my life. I was a brand new agent within the first year of being an agent. And actually someone who was president at that time called and said, hey, would you consider doing this? They needed a body to fill on the board. And the president-elect was actually someone I went to school with in high school and I hadn't seen in 25 years. And I said, honestly, I think that's a good move because I'm brand new to the industry and I need to get my offers accepted and I need to know what other realtors are in my marketplace. So of course, and I come from church, I come from a ministry. I was on a church staff for 8 years. And so we serve, it's just in our DNA. So what we do, and I thought, I can just serve. Sure, no problem. I can serve. I know how to do that. And I never dreamed that it would lead me to the places where I am now. And actually, as I went along in Women's Council and got further and further, and I was on the board for 4 years and I got that call, ring, ring. Renée, it's Sabrina Brown. Well, you know, it's time for you to step up to president-elect. And I said, I don't think I can do that, Sabrina. And you know Sabrina, because you said that was that look of, I could see it, even if it was on the phone, I knew she was giving me that look, why not? Why aren't you? She goes, okay. And so I was like, oh gosh, Sabrina Brown thinks I can do it. I guess I can I can go on to president-elect. So that's how it all began for me. Really, it was just serving doors and doors started to open. That's really all it is, being a servant and saying yes.
I love it. And Sabrina is here.
Oh, sorry. Yep. I have the chat closed because I just wanted to talk. Sorry.
No, it's good. She's here. I love it. All right. Well, we'd love next to learn a little bit more about you, Novelette. And I know that Renée was like,
yes, please. Can I introduce her? Because she's very special and dear to my heart because she embodies Women's Council. And we have the privilege of meeting a lot of different people on our journey. And Novelette was someone who actually was a president-elect for Women's Council South Bay when I met her. And it was a network that needed a bit of assistance, if I could say, a little bit of hand holding. She and Claudia Diaz, and Claudia, as you know, one of our WaveMakers, amazing. If you need someone in the global space, Claudia Diaz is your girl. She knows global inside and out, and they took the reins for South Bay and they brought it up. I gotta tell you, it was, and when they brought it to life. And Novelette, in the process of doing that, as I was one of her district vice presidents, there were some not so wonderful conversations that we had to have sometimes that were kind of painful for me to have, but she was a champion. She was humble. She listened. She was not defensive. She said, okay, I got it. Women's Council is different than CAR. I get it. And I understand the heart of Women's Council. So thank you for letting me grow. And I have so much respect for her because it wasn't always easy, but she was a champion. Yeah. And so my friend Novelette, and she is the broker owner of Morgen Real Estate. And so Novelette, thank you.
I can't top that, but I will send you a check in the mail, so hang in there. It's an honor to be here. I would say, I don't know, I'm so speechless. I can't believe you did this. I had no idea you're going to go through all this. I'm Novelette Witt, and I'm the founder and broker owner of Morgen Real Estate, as Renee has already showed you. And I kind of got here because, well, I actually always knew I wanted to be a leader. I did not want to be a follower. It's just not in my DNA. However, I knew that I had to follow to become a leader. And so I did everything I had to do. And I should say, one of the best things I learned about being a follower is how to be graceful. And that was from Women's Council. There are a lot of things I learned from Women's Council too, but the graceful part was priceless. And so for me, my background is I'm originally from Jamaica, and the way we were raised in that culture, you had to have something that belonged, or something of your own, because you couldn't rely on any outside forces, say government job or private sector, because then if something happens, there's no system to protect you if you were some reason didn't get paid for whatever period. And so I grew up in an environment where you always had something belonging that's of your own. And so I knew that when I wanted to get into real estate, that I wanted to come in already as a broker and learn what I need to learn and to get where I need to go. That's kind of how I got here.
I love that. And I can hear a little bit of your accent. I love it. A little bit came out there a little bit, especially when you were a little kerfuffled by what was happening, by all the praise that you were getting. I love that. And we're so excited to meet you because this is your first time inside of our community. And so we are so grateful that you said yes. I know that Sarah Sudachan really, really wanted to be here today. And of course, she sends her love to all of you and all of us inside the community. She is working on some really cool things for Reimagine, of all things, today. So we will see her again for the next Shine a Light show in the future. All right, well, it's my blessed opportunity to share that Kymberley is back with us today. So Kymberley Jackson Dumas, who many of you if you were at the conference, you saw that Kymberley was on a panel that I had, and we were talking, we dug in that conversation. Oh yeah. Yes. She is joining us today to share her heart and share what's happening in her life. So introduce yourself, Kymberley, and let us know a little bit about your path into leadership.
Okay. So my name is Kymberley Jackson Dumas, and I am the broker CEO of K. Dumas Homes and the housing company Financial Group. I've been in this industry for a long time, I would say 18 or 19 years, but it didn't always start that way. And like some of the other panelists, being a leader was instilled in us at an early age. I remember my grandmother telling me back in a younger day, follow your own path. We can just be dancing in the living room and having a good time. And she's like, what's that dance you're doing? Did you make that dance up? And I'm like, we're just dancing. But really what she was teaching us is to be creative and to be innovative. And so that just kind of hung with me over the years. And I've always had that spirit of giving and of just kind of being front and center without even really knowing it. So as I grew through my adolescence, I had many businesses. I mean, if you name it, it was like, hey, Mom, I had that business. I had a towel shop, I had a beauty supply, I had a picture store, I was a nail technician. And I landed up in corporate America working for the limited corporation. It was fun, but what I noticed is that the position that I was in, I really didn't have a lot of control over the vision or the dynamics of the company. So I wanted to put myself in a position where I could really influence people and treat them the way that I feel that people should be treated in a line of employment. And that's why I got into real estate. It turned out to be a true blessing for me.
I love that. I love the idea of the realization that I can be a great leader, but I'm not in control of the environment. It's so true. And I think that we hear that time and time again from the leaders inside the WomanUP community, that a big reason for opening their own brokerage is so that they get a chance to add their own spice
Yes.
to, to this industry that we all love so very much. Thank you so much. So one of the things we love to talk about in the WomanUP community is lessons. We love lessons, and we love to learn lessons from each other. We don't believe that we have to learn it ourselves. We are open to listening and soaking in wisdom. So I'd love to hear about your favorite business lesson. Perhaps it was a risky move you made. Maybe it didn't pay off. Maybe it did. But maybe a challenging project, something around hiring and firing team members. You get the idea. So how did you address it? Let's kind of start there. And Renee, I'm going to start with you again.
Okay, not easy questions, my friend Deborah, but that,
I know, we like to dig deep.
We're gonna go deep. And so I would say, without a doubt, the most challenging situation for me was leaving my team at Remax when I was an agent in probably about a year and a half. And I was the breadwinner at the time. And so it was very risky and scary. Like, I thought for sure I'll never be able to sell a house again. And no one will do business with me because I'm not on a team. And I don't know how that works. I'm just going to be myself. But I knew that my team there was only so much they were teaching me. And I was a buyer's agent, and she would not teach me how to be a listing agent. But my friends wanted me to list their homes. So I was out there figuring it out, actually talking to other realtors, asking them, how do I do this, and learning on the fly. But she would not help me because she wanted me to stay as a buyer's agent. And she said, that's the way the team works. You're a buyer's agent. I'm the listing agent. My friends were like, I want to work with you. I don't know who she is. So I decided to leave. And that was one of the hardest things to do. And of course, I think there is counsel in many, the word says that when there is many wise counsel, there's wisdom in counsel of many. So I asked other realtors that I trust, and many of them from Women's Council, like, can I do this move? I remember going to a board meeting just crying. I had to make a decision in a couple of hours and just crying. And the ladies just embraced me and settled me down. And so definitely that was the hardest move for my family, but it was my sisters and my tribe who helped me through it.
Isn't that true though? I think that there was nothing wrong with the situation that you're in when a realtor decides to create a team and their lane is listings and they have other roles. That's what they're looking to do, right? And they build it and they bring people in. And I'm so proud of you for listening to that voice inside saying, this is no longer for me. It's not that she was trying to keep you small. It was that you were ready to shine and learn and grow. And it's so important that we honor all those steps along the way. So I really appreciate you sharing that and reminding those that are here listening, if you are trying to figure out like what that next step is, ask your trusted advisors. We have amazing advisors inside the WomanUP community. So if you've got a question, you can always drop it on the Facebook group. Trust me, the sisterhood will come through. Always, always, always does.
And can I say real fast, Deborah, too, I was very grateful to have a job. I was so happy to be able to provide for my family when that first happened. And I would get a check and say, thank you, Lord. I was so happy. But as you grow older and older and start realizing my first like $1.5 million house and then 25,000 went to my team. I said, what did my team do for that? But I was grateful because the first learning experience. But I thought, oh, that's $25,000 out the door. And then that's when people started talking to me about, come on, you probably don't need, you're doing things on your own, you're doing things. So anyway, but thank you. I was very grateful.
That's good. Yeah. Spreading your wings is part of growth for sure. How about you, Kymberley? I saw you like shaking your head and
I was just totally relating to Renee and how she was talking about building, because where I'm from, well, we're from the Bay Area, but we built the same way, and discipline was really, really important. in order to get things done. So like some of the key steps that we took were just practicing positive things, being disciplined. And, you know, my favorite business lessons at a young age came really from my heritage from my grandmother. She was the first African-American ambulance driver in Oakland, California. The first. When my family came here, they all worked like at the shipyard and things like that. And they really got their foot in and made a foundation for us here in California because they're from down south. So it was important for me because to do well, because I feel like we're building on the backs of people who have put down so much effort to make things happen for us. And my job is to see who I can take with me. Who wants to come with Kymberley? Who wants to grow? Let me teach you how to grow. So I was shaking my head when Renee was talking about what she was going through because it touched my heart. Because a lot of people in business, when you go and say, hey, I want to learn this, they don't teach you because they don't want you to supersede. They don't want you to succeed over them. But the point is to grab as many people as you can and help them to get to where they need to be. And when you do that, you succeed. That's the goal. Find your purpose. And if that's your purpose, you make it happen. And I'm so passionate about helping others get to where they need to be. And especially in the real estate business, I just feel like I am put here for a reason. I've never had to let anyone go in this business, but I've had to mentor some people. But normally they kind of know, oh my God, we talked about that. You know, I'm going to do better. But that's what it's about, right? Making change.
So good. So beautifully said. And I think that, again, it's the reminder of when we feel that feeling, when we feel like we're being held back or pushed down, like that's a reminder that we're in charge of our lives.
Yes.
So no one else is, right? We have divine power over that.
Yes.
And so having those, the trusted advisors, we've talked many times on the stage at WomanUP and in these virtual settings about having a personal board of advisors. That include mentors, that include, people who can talk to you about your marriage, your relationships, your friendships, your business, your life, meal planning. I mean, all of the things, all of the luscious layers, right? It is important to have people that we can go to for really, truly trusted advice. And I love that is a theme in these business lessons. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
All right, Novelette, tell us what one of your scariest challenges has been.
I think, I guess the one that was most personal to me was right before I started my own brokerage. My plan was when I got in the business, because I got my license a year before I actually got in the business, and I started out with the broker's license, but I knew I couldn't do anything without knowing what to do. And so I interviewed a bunch of firms at the time, and I chose the ones who I thought could teach me what I need to know. And the goal was spend a few years there and then go to a smaller brokerage and, before I take my my leave on my own. And the small brokerage that I end up with last, I've always made it clear what my plans were, that I will go on my own at some point. I have a 5-year plan, and it's okay if it went a little longer or not, but the point was I wasn't going to stay there in forever. What kind of I guess was kind of shocking for me is that my broker at the time, I really looked up to her, and she was one of those women who were just unstoppable and absolutely amazing. And I respected her. And when the time came, I said, I'm ready to go. This is it. I'm leaving. And she said, hold on.
It's okay.
Oh, I love it.
Just thought,
We got you, girl. We got you. We got you.
We're here.
said I would never make it on my own.
Oh.
And I thought, sorry, I don't cry. It's Renee. Renee put this on me. And stop those comments too. Okay. When she said that, I didn't think it would get to me, because I really don't take things very personal, because I've learned to have a thick skin. But when she said that, because I thought we had a connection, and that and again, she knew my plans, what I planned to do. And then for her to say that, I thought, ouch, it's like,
Ooh.
where did that come from? And so I held on to that a little bit. I still moved on because I had no choice as far as the concern. With my culture, I had to move on to the next thing, and that was it. But I just thought it was just kind of a hurtful thing. But I tried after I took it personal, and then I let it go because I realized that I can't let that stop me or get in my way. And so that was kind of a kick in the gut, but I had to move. So, sorry about that.
Yeah, that isn't where I thought it was going.
Yeah, I didn't either. I blame Renee.
Well, I mean, here, and I want to speak to, I've seen a couple comments come through to the hosts and panelists and to everyone about this. And I want us to be very careful as we're gathered around this table to make it about the fact that her broker was a woman and women don't support each other, because that language has got to go.
Yes.
Everyone, that language has got to go. Humans don't support all other humans. And part of in my deepest of deepest bones and blood, I believe that when we experience things like that with other humans, that they are part of a sacred contract. And sadly for that person, that broker, she's no longer part of your journey. Her role was to push and to say those things, to maybe to light a fire in you, who knows? But there's a reason why we learn these lessons from people. And it's really important that we don't get bogged down, in particular, again, when it is women who are those catalysts for us, that it's not a negative. It actually, we can see it as a positive. Really, everyone, please just embrace that. It is so important for us to remember that, and to not pit women against women.
Yes.
Because man, look at us all here. We're rising tides lift all ships.
Yes.
And I'm so thankful that you shared that. And wow, you released the anchor. She wanted to keep you where she was. And whether that was fear or anger at all she'd done for you, whatever the story was in her head, you didn't let that stop you. And that's a powerful lesson for all of us.
Yes.
We're so thankful. So beautiful. I love that. That kind of leads right into our topic of the month. Every year inside the WomanUP community, we have lots of conversations on the Facebook group about what's happening next year. What do you want to talk about? What are the topics on your mind? What do you want us to ask leaders on the show? And the topic of leading under pressure, I know, shocker, was a big one. It was in the top 2 topics that were voted on. And so we know as a community, we are working collectively to ditch the pressure to be perfect, to stop striving to never make a mistake, or only raise our hands when every single one of the boxes that's required is checked. We know we're at that place, but let's talk about how each of you have navigated the pressures of leadership within the, ever-changing, fear-based media swarming in our market, but that how you've managed to take those peak pressure moments that can bring such anxiety to us as leaders because we feel this responsibility, how you've managed to work with them and not ignore them. Let's start with you. You know what? Actually, let's start with Kymberley this time.
Okay. So leadership and pressure for me is kind of tricky because I have to keep in mind that while empowering others, I have to take time out to refuel. And this is kind of weird because I sent a link to folks saying, hey, we're going to be on the real estate panel, but these are more like life lessons that we're talking about today that like everybody can learn from. So it's like sometimes I get nervous, I get anxiety, and my hands get clammy when I speak, but my faith base is so strong. I want to make the impact. I want to make the difference. And so because of that, it allows me to treat people a certain way. And even in leadership, sometimes I think people forget why they got in the position that, or where were you 5 years ago when you were praying, oh, I want this position, I want this business, oh, make this possible, right? And then these things became possible, and then you forget why or what you had to do to make it possible. You see? So I'm like, I got into this business to make a difference in real estate, to treat people well, to open up employment. Hopefully I'll have a scholarship program through my business where I can help other realtors to pay for their car fees. And we already know what that's like, guys, right? And, you know, when they don't have the means, just to be available, to find your footing, to make a difference and do what comes natural for you. I really feel that's what it's about.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that. And you're right. It is, you know, I think real estate, it is a merging of life and business, right? I mean, we live and breathe the industry. You don't go anywhere without people asking you about real estate. And so life lessons on and weaving those into our business is very, very important. Of course, understanding contracts and how to open a brokerage, those things are very important, but fueling ourselves so that we can serve with a full cup is so very important. Novelette, how about you? When you think about advice you have for leaders feeling the pressure right now, what comes to mind?
It's either do or don't. You have to be decisive. It's scary, but the only way to move forward is you have to make tough decisions. You have to really know what you want, and don't be afraid to go for it. Ask for it, ask for help, but really open your mouth. Just don't. And people may know you and see you and think you're good at this or that and help you, and that's great. But if you really want to go places, or if you really want to grow, it's up to you to really just do it. You know, and we have to realize that getting to that position is not a one and done. It's a process. So it's part of a journey that you'll get hiccups along the way, but it's how you get to be your best self. So it's kind of like a cliche, because that's just how it is.
It's like Nike.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? Nike was a goddess. So that's okay. Like, we'll take it. We'll take it. Do or don't. I think it's
Can I
beautiful.
say something?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that, just speaking to leaders, or just people in general, we're all human, right? And it's okay to make mistakes. You know, it's okay to start over. It's okay to apologize. It's okay to reprogram yourself, but mostly people just need to breathe and just take the time out to enjoy the space, or to recognize the space around them so that they can make better decisions.
You know what strikes me as we're talking about this is a kind of around the pressure and the need to be perfect. I don't know about you ladies, but when someone makes a mistake and they say to me, "Oh, I made a mistake," there is something that is so softening about that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'd love to talk about that, like how you receive when someone makes a mistake and you call them out on it and say, "Hey, I don't think that's quite right." I'd love to hear what your reaction is to that.
My reaction would be to acknowledge the mistake. So say if I said something that offended you, right? Whether it was on purpose or not, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that I hurt you, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize. That was not my intention. You see, because I understand what you're saying. I don't have to agree with what you're saying, but I didn't mean to hurt you. You see, so we just need to learn to converse and to really solve our differences and to get things done that way. And I just think that it will make a world difference.
I agree.
Add to that, I think to say, if you're in a situation where both of you are at fault, it's okay for you to be the bigger person, acknowledge it, and you have to realize that you can't expect that person to be where you are, and that's okay too. The important thing is that you learn from it, grow from it, and let it go. Don't hold on to grudges. You just have to just be an adult.
Yes.
I agree, Novelette, and I've gone through lots of counseling because I'm married for 26 years. So let's just say that we learned that the first person who apologizes is really the one who's trying to re-heal and get the marriage or whatever relationship that you're in back together. So there's power in forgiveness, and then you really open up the other person's heart. When you say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I've had to do that in my parenting and tell my kids, I'm sorry, I've made a mistake. And then I think, it kind of wins them to you, not you're doing it for motivate. You're not trying to manipulate the situation, but you are saying, I'm sorry, I did this, I'm sorry. And then I think they see us as more humans too, not.
Yes.
And it also helps you not to hold grudges if you can let it go.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think grudges are based on preference, like what we prefer for people to do when we apologize, or whenever we have any kind of communication. We have this preconceived notion of how they should receive it. And I think what I'm hearing you're all saying is this idea of not like releasing the outcome, right? Releasing the result of when you have hurt. And Kymberley, what I loved when you were saying it, like, it doesn't matter what your intention was, in whether it was something that you said or something that you did. If it's something that didn't turn out as you expected, it's still okay to say, I'm sorry. Like that was not my intention. I went to a conference, gosh, it's got to be like 10-15 years ago now, and the speaker said, we judge ourselves on our intentions, not our actions, yet we judge others on their actions, not their intentions. And it stuck, like it planted itself deep in my soul, because I thought, oh, it's so true. And once you start to listen to yourself and listen for those moments where you're like, oh, that's not what I meant. Like that's the trigger. It doesn't matter if that's not what you meant. That's what was received.
Right. And I think mature leaders should be able to apologize. And it's okay. It's okay to apologize. And I think because we're not perfect and we're going to make mistakes, and others are going to make mistakes too. And I think that's a wonderful characteristic to have, to be able to apologize.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I see Judy saying you should always make an effort to take a positive lesson from every situation, a lesson learned, and commit to lifelong learning from every situation and every person. Amen. I was part of a women's, like a Bible study years ago. It was called Wild Women in Lifelong Development. And so whenever I see the word wild now, I think of that, women in lifelong development. So thank you for that reminder, Judy. Okay, as we start to wrap up the conversation here today, and think about, these wonderful topics that we've already covered, I would love to hear about, we love books, and Leslie's here. Leslie Appleton Young, who we know, all of you know, is a book nerd, a book lover. So let's talk about some of the books that have impacted you and fill up the, reading list for some of our attendees today. Renee, what's I know what one of them is going to be. But let's talk about books.
It's this one. For me, there's nothing new under the sun. I think if you read this book, everything that the enemy tries to throw at us has already been resolved in here. There's nothing new. I find so much wisdom in this book, so that's my favorite. But Deborah, if you don't mind, can I answer the question that we had before? Because I didn't really have a chance to answer that.
Oh yes, goodness sakes, absolutely. Yeah, okay, let's go back. What advice do you have for leaders feeling the pressure?
Yes. So first of all, I want to say that leadership is hard. It's hard. So we could just acknowledge it's hard. Like you expose yourself, you say, okay, I'll do this. And you want to grow for free, right? We're all in these volunteer positions. We're growing for free, but you do surround yourself by people. And you also, the thing that we were just talking about, you expose yourself to people and you are hoping that the people will understand that I don't always know what I'm doing, but you're really putting yourself directly, intentionally in a lion's den to have so much criticism, so many different opinions coming at you. They're not doing it this way. Sometimes, so I think the best way is just to be authentic. So one, say, okay, there is a challenge out there. Let's acknowledge that. Because I think if we don't acknowledge that it is challenging, we might just shrink back into a cocoon, right? We don't want to do that. So it's hard, but for me personally, in this challenging world of leadership, I must say I wake up at 5 o'clock. I mean, I'm walking my dog at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking it out with my friend. We talk before the day begins, before the sunrise. We're getting things out. And so
Right.
that's great. A couple years ago at Leadership 360 at Women's Council, we had, I believe it was Sylvia, she shared that when she was on her leadership journey, she was our past national president, that she had a really hard time. And Chris Lee, who was her president-elect, was her sounding board. She stood in the gap for her on a really hard time. And so we always say, who's your Chris Lee? Who's your tribe? Who are you there with? Who are you walking with? Who's holding your hand when you guys know that meme or something about, hey, behind every successful woman, there's a bunch of people texting or trying to encourage them. Yeah, you have that tribe. So who's your Chris Lee? Who are those people when it's challenging out there that you can just call? And I don't care what time it is, who can just call those trusted advisors that you have that you were talking about, Deborah, because leaders out here, it can be hard and daunting. And if you're a successful, strong woman and you don't address some of these things and have your tribe, we don't want to see not one more person jump off a bridge, go into a hospital. We don't want that anymore for people. We want them to have community and a person and people, that tribe. So that's my advice. Find your tribe, get up, walk your dog, whatever you have to do, but find your tribe.
Yes.
I love it. Find your tribe and get up and walk your dog early in the morning. I think it's a beautiful way to look at how to release and relieve pressure, right? And it's another great reminder. We're not doing this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel like you're doing it alone, like pull up a chair here at the WomanUP table, volunteer at your local women's council network. Like there are so many places that have open arms, that have the resources. We do have a great mentorship platform on the Facebook group for WomanUP. For those of you who are like, I just don't know anybody, or there's nobody in my area, or you don't want somebody in your area, you want to talk to somebody who's in another city or state. If you just go to the Facebook group it's easier to navigate, I think, on your laptop or your computer. Just look for, it says mentorship, and you can kind of browse through. I mean, there are some fantastic leaders inside there. And it's as simple as sending a direct message on Facebook to get a conversation going. It doesn't have to be a Zoom right away with, this person that you've looked up to for years. It can be a very soft introduction. And the beauty of that program is those women have already said, yes, I want to mentor others. So they've already said yes to the question that you're probably a little nervous to ask, which is, can I ask you a question? So you have a trusted group of people for sure. Okay, thank you. I want to applaud you, Renee, for saying, wait, I want to share my thoughts. Like that is so beautiful. And again, I feel like there's lots of great reminders today. It's a great
you create
example.
a beautiful environment that it's okay for me to do that.
Yeah.
As a leader so I thank you for giving me the environment where I felt like I could speak. So thank you.
Beautiful. I love that so much. Before we get to books, I see Sabrina Brown said, leadership is hard. It's great to have a tribe, but you also have to be strong enough to walk alone on some parts of your leadership journey.
Yes.
Isn't that the truth, right? So good. Oh, I think that's great. Yes, Melinda, we'll get the post to the Facebook group for you so that you can click that and join us over there. All right, books. Let's get back to books. So, of course, the Bible was your first book, but you have any other books up your sleeve, Renee?
Well, I believe that we're all here for a purpose. And so I love purpose-driven life. Kymberley. She's
My favorites. Yeah.
There you go.
Favorites.
Driven life, because we're not here for ourselves. We're here for others. We're just vessels that are here
Yes.
for other people. And we have I always tell my family, if you're still alive, you still got breath, you have something that you're meant to do.
Yes.
Has a purpose for you, because so many of us shouldn't be here. Look what the world that we're living in. But we have a vision. There's a purpose. And so finding your purpose. I love that book.
Kimberly, I think there's
You
a red
know what,
thread.
Renee? You're right on time. She's right on time because I was going to say the same thing. Purpose-driven life, one of my favorites. And you know, we were raised in a Baptist church, and they had this song that went, "Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet." And it's right here. It's right here, and it's just amazing. So another book. I'll give you another one. One of my agents gave me this amazing book. It is called Crazy Faith. And it is good. And it took me outside of my element because it had these assignments in it where you write down things that you like or need or believe. And then you have to write whether you have maybe faith, if you had baby faith, or if you had crazy faith. And I had to step back and go, uh-oh.
Called you out.
It challenges family. I mean, there's so many different assignments for the book, and it was just really a good read. So yes.
I love that. Ooh, the rating of your level of faith. Talk about like just swirling right in on you.
Getting right in there.
You're like, I don't want to type baby faith. I don't want to type that. That's-
And then I was crossing it out. Well, maybe faith. No, right.
oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm definitely gonna look that up. Thank you to Fatima for dropping that link in. Okay, Novelette, what are some of the books that you run to?
One of my all-time favorites, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Luis. This
Mhm.
book, I love this book so much. I give this book to as many people I can think of, especially young realtors coming into business. I thought you need to have this. It's got 4 agreements. The one that really stick with me, which I had to tap into when I first started my business, is not to take anything personal. That doesn't matter how much someone means to you, how close you are. If they say something that hurts you, you can't take that as a truth. It's really what they felt, what they're reflecting, what they're going through. You just have to separate. Even if it's your mother that says something that just really hurt you, you just have to be able to separate yourself. This book is absolutely great. It's an easy read. You can read this in one sitting, but I wouldn't rush through it because you want to digest it. You can also get this book on through your library, it used to be Overdrive. I think now it's called Libby or something. If you have a library account for any library, you can have the Libby app and you can listen to audiobook on your phone. You don't have
The
to
audio is so good.
Yeah. Sorry?
The audiobook is so good.
Exactly right. You don't have to read it, especially, it's a realtor, you probably run around. So this is a must-have book. It's a real book to have. Good one. The other one, someone kind of forced this one on me. Far Wilder actually dared me to read this book. And it really scared me because it's a bit too personal because it's dealing with discrimination in housing, especially against Black women. And this is the book, Race for Profit. Let me see if I can say her name. It's Kaninga Yamata Taylor. She's a historian, a historian writer, and this book it's a great book to read. If you're in the business, if you're a realtor or anything real estate, you really need to read this. It's not just a Black book or anything like that. You really need to know, because this tells you the history of real estate and why we are where we are now with how discrimination is in our industry. But this book, it's powerful. It's going to piss you off. You're going to be so angry, but when you're done with it, you're going to be glad that you read it, because ignorance is not bliss.
Oh, so true. I think, Joanna, are you asking for the last book that was shared? It was Race for Profit.
Race.
And yeah, Race, RACE. I feel like Farah actually did a book club on that. I don't remember, but I know that she's definitely dropped that in the name of that book multiple times.
Right, deliberately, what is it? Deliberately fair housing.
Fair housing.
They might have covered that a
Yeah.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's such a great book. Yeah. And I think it's, if there were a required reading for realtors, that would definitely be on the list. We're going to drop that into the comments for sure for everyone. So many great suggestions.
And all these books, everyone, you don't have to buy them. They're all available through your library on the Livy Drive. I want to call it the Livy app. In your library, I'll have an app where you can rent audiobooks and you can listen to this in no time. So keep that in mind. And it's free.
Yes. Wow. You did get, somebody said yes. Bridget Ingram said, yes, it is Libby. You are right. You are, yes. And that's a great reminder as well. Like, we don't have to let money stand in the way of us learning. right? We can support our local library and visit them. Our library is fantastic here in Washington. I love our little local library. And it's a great place to meet people too. I mean, not meet people like that. Hello, I'm married in almost 20 years, but I mean, like have a meeting, because they've got great conference space at a lot of them. And there's always somebody there. You feel
Good
safe.
idea.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the time where we have to do the final words of wisdom. We'll go around the table. And whatever is on your heart, if it was something that was inspired by a fellow guest on the show, something you saw in the chat, but what is on your heart that you want to sprinkle over the community? Novelette, let's start with you.
Oh, what joy. I think the important thing is that you have to know who you are. You really have to trust yourself. It's not something you learn overnight. It takes time. If you find that you are too indecisive, or you just seems to be sort of, for lack of a better word, wishy-washy, two more times than one, when it comes to things that benefit you, then chances are you don't know really who you are. And then you really need to invest that time to understand, get to know yourself, really spend the time. It's not going to be easy, because there's some things that you may not like about yourself, but you're human. You have to be able to work with that and carry on, because along the way there is fun. But again, it's one of those things that it's really a lifelong journey. It's just over time you get more comfortable with knowing yourself and trusting that flow. And you really should just enjoy the journey. It's not a one and done. It's a beautiful journey. It's your life. So just embrace it.
So good. So good. Kymberley, you're like, I feel like we're all in church.
Oh you know what? My final words would be just reminding everybody to be kind to yourself. Encourage yourself. I wake up some mornings, and I still do. I hug myself. I pat myself on the back. I tell myself, Kymberley, I love you. You're going to do a great job today. It's going to be a beautiful day. You got to stay positive. If you cannot encourage yourself, you cannot expect for other people to encourage you. You got to start it. They're going to give you what you need. They're going to give you what you want, but you got to put that energy out there. And my other thing is, you do things that fill your heart. Do things that fill your heart. And you'll know those things, because when you wake up in the morning, you'll be excited. Right? You can't sleep at night because you can't wait to get back to it. So I just wanted to say it's okay, to start over and just keep the faith.
So I don't know how much any of you follow the International Women's Day and all of the campaigns that are around that. It is a movement that's been around since 1911, so it's been around for a while. But their campaign this year is Embrace Equity, and all the photos are of people hugging and embracing themselves. And so I want to encourage, like I've got goosebumps. I would love to encourage all of us, but in particular, Kymberley, you can send in a picture of yourself embracing and tag it. And it seems so perfect for you.
Now, what is it called?
It's called International Women's Day. And this is every year they have a different campaign. And this year their campaign is Embrace Equity. And so every year they have people take pictures of themselves, like selfies, and put them in the stream with the tag, which this year is Embrace Equity. So I dropped the International Women's Day link in. Take a look at it. We'll definitely be talking about it during the month of March, which is Women's History Month. But just that visual of you embracing and hugging yourself reminded me of it. It's so beautiful. I love it. I love it. Oh, Renee, how about you? What are the final words you want to sprinkle over us?
First of all, thank you for having us, Deborah. I would say, so we're leaders, but leaders, in essence of being a leader, you have people behind you who are followers, who are following you. And I think I've certainly learned that I can't forget that I've got people behind me who are following me, and you're always on. And you may not like that position that you are when you're a leader, but you are always on. Someone's always watching you. And to remember that those people were once where you were, they were there. Yeah. You were there where they are. and to be kind and gracious sometimes, because I have to say personally in my leadership, that there's been some words and actions for me that if I really took it personally, like Novelette, like her broker, when she said that, I probably wouldn't be talking to you today. But you have that tribe, your Chris Lee, who you go to and say, this happened to me, maybe, and who reminds you, maybe it's not about you, maybe it's about something that they were going through.
Yeah.
So be careful with our words and our actions when we're leaders, because we don't want to discourage anyone who might be on a pathway and might just be so ready to bloom, and our behavior, even unintentional, my word is not there, stump them from going on because of something we said or something we did. And so again, always be willing to apologize and be humble, because we don't know who we're affecting, but remember the people that we are leading, you were there too. And let's not never ever forget that we can't be leaders without those who are behind us following us.
That's so good. Yeah. It reminds me of something you said, Novelette, earlier. I knew I had to follow to become a leader. And I think those are the words that the people who are following us are thinking, right? Like, I want to be her someday. I want to be a leader like that. And so they are watching what we're doing. I like to think of it as raising the vibration, right? Are my words raising the vibration in the room, or are they lowering it? And we know what that means instinctively, each one of us, no matter what it means to you or to me, we all know, we have an internal knowing. All right, before we go, we do have amongst us someone who is very passionate about a panel that is happening on 2/22. So Novelette, would you share with us about this Black Women in Real Estate panel that's happening?
Of course, thank you. Okay, so we have a committee that's part of or an organization that's part of CAR, and it's called California Association of Black Real Estate Professionals. And the idea behind we started is so that we can give people of color, especially Black realtors, into leadership within CAR, NAR, and also to help the Black community kind of with home ownership. So we had a few different missions that we're working on to get, Black realtors and Black homeowners into homes. So we're going to have a panel to talk about, to have Black women realtors who are been successful in the field. A few years ago, when our founder president was with us, Malcolm Bennett, he did a panel for the men. And that was, I want to say, it was right in the middle of the pandemic. I want to say it was 2020. Anyway, so now we're doing the women's version next Wednesday. And this is going to be Judy Covington, Dolores Golden, she's our current president, Tia Honeycant, and Denise Wilson. And these are realtors throughout California. Judy's in Sacramento, Dolores is down here in LA, Tia is over by Oakland, and Denise is over by Temecula.
Wow.
She gets all the wine stuff. So, and going to be moderated by Linda Wilcox, who is kind of, I guess Tracy's more kind of central-ish. Right. And we're just going to talk about their journey, the successes they've had, and just, maybe a dialogue that we want to be able to have others to have an insight of what these women have experienced and what they're going through. And, you can learn a thing or two. It's not going to be just like a kumbaya moment, but really engaging. So I encourage you to come and check it out. There's no charge. It's a free event. It's going to be via Zoom. So I think the link is somewhere. Yep. Yeah, that's the link. Excellent. Thank you, Fatima. So come check it out. It's going to be on Wednesday at, what time is it?
11 a.m.
11.
Pacific time. So please check it out. And if you want more information about what CAP Rep is about, California Association of Black Real Estate Professionals, then you can always send me a message and I can tell you more about that. But check it out. Renee is also a member. Kymberley, we'll talk about that. But
she's next.
I love it.
so please check it out.
I love that. And it's the perfect bridge between Black History Month and Women's History Month, which of course, everybody at this table believes Black history and women's history should be every month. However, we will take it until there is equality in the statues that represent what we have done on this planet. We will continue to keep our own months. I'm fine with that until we reach that point. Ladies, thank you so much. I hope that you had a chance to take a peek at the chat. If not, we will definitely get you a copy of it. So much love to all of you. We're so grateful for your vulnerability, for your passion, for your wisdom. We look forward to seeing all of you in the chat and conversations to come, and hopefully June 13th and 14th at the Seabird Resort in Oside. IamWomanUp.com will get you connected to all of the details that we talked about. And if we talked about something today that you want to know more about, you can email us at womanup@car.org. All right, until next week, everyone, take good care. Thanks so
Bye,
much. Thank
guys.
you, ladies.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
You
Hugs,
too.
Novelette, hugs.
Yes, yes, embrace equality.
Yes.
Woo! I love it. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you for sharing.
Pleasure.
Bye, Novelette.
Bye.
Bye, Kimberly.
Bye, Novelette. Bye, Renee.